Hello, beautiful Pisces. All right, so here we go. You have the Page of Pentacles in reverse right here. The Three of Swords, the Ace of Swords, the Seven of Wands. Although, to tell you the truth, it feels like the Nine of Wands, the way I look at it. But it is the Seven of Wands. Underneath it, you have the eye, the diagonal lines, the cross and ladder. And the Page of Pentacles usually is the card of learning something new, but it's in reverse right now. And what I feel from this, even just by looking at it, it's this figure is looking at all the tools, right? It's a little like the magician at the beginning going, I have everything, but I'm not exactly sure. And the eye underneath it, that's just you opening up to it, going, okay, I'm seeing something. I'm seeing what's there, what's happening, what's coming in, how it's applying, right? But it's still a feeling of not entirely knowing what to do with it. What do I do with it? What do I do with all of this, right? You know inside of yourself that you're learning, but you're not exactly sure what. You have the Three of Swords with the diagonal lines, and this is, to me, both of these are showing pain. Look at the way they look like scratch marks. That's what it looks like. Looks like something was scratched out. There's these swords going through, same thing. There's a lot of pain involved. A lot of, like, scratching or getting yourself out of, like, this kind of pain, this kind of hurt that is sitting with you. That's the part that gets me from this card. All these lines, they're so uneven. You notice? Look how uneven they are. They show no real straight lines. This is nothing straight about this. And when you live in a world of straight lines and all you're getting are these like lines that don't look straight, you can end up walking around thinking that somehow you don't A, fit in, B, you're not good enough. This variation is what it's giving me. And believe me, I've been there. This is something I remember as a young girl. So, yeah, not so much now. I like my differences. I've realized that I just really, the whole point was not being able to fit in with everybody else. You want a sense of connectedness, and if the people connected, or the collective conscious is things have to be one way only, you immediately feel like an outcast. You feel like somehow you didn't measure up. And that's a big problem with society, right? We all buy into everybody's got to look this way. And then when it doesn't measure up, or you can't, you become somebody who is like really despondent, somebody who's really sad, somebody who's really depressed. I'm going to tell you something right now. You were never meant to be anybody else but yourself. You were never meant to fit a collective. Yes, we can have things in common with the collective, but we don't have to be it carbon copy. This is ridiculous. We're not carbon copies. We came here to feel the differences within ourselves, to live through those differences. So please, just remember that this is a lot of bullshit that's been passed down over generations. And it's not even, a lot of it is not malice. People were trying to be helpful, to try to give you a guide to go by. But at some point, certain things became very restrictive and didn't leave any wiggle room for growth. And then judgment came in. And judgment of self or judgment of others are some of the harshest things we have adopted as a society. The Ace of Swords with the cross, clarity, cross to bear. Is your cross to bear? This is a stance of somebody who's fighting for clarity, to understand, right? There's been a lot of that. And I feel a sense of sadness here for this, because I feel like it says that there's been many that have fallen for that sense. When I think of pain, of how people feel pain, a lot of it is in the way they think, right? They walk around with the heaviest of thoughts in their brains that keep weighing them down until finally they can't stand the weight anymore. And the saddest part of that is that a lot of times, as if they had tweaked it or had somebody to show them something completely different, going, get out of your mind on how you perceive who you are and just simply be in a present moment, just for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right? Yes, it's going into the future when you say that, but just to stand inside yourself without any preconceived notions of who you're supposed to be or who you were, just right now. You could give yourself a mental break enough to maybe catch breath. Okay? This is the biggest part. We forget how to breathe for ourselves. That sometimes we are just here to breathe, right? I can think of all the things that I need to do, but the clearest moment that happens to us is when we drop them. Think about if you've ever had a moment of I can't do this anymore. And I'm talking from my own personal experience here, where I've broken down and started sobbing and crying and thinking, I can't do this anymore. When I am at the lowest, when I cry so hard that I have to let go of the past and the future, I suddenly sit in the quiet of the present moment and that pain. And what happens to me? I get super quiet. For a moment, there's almost an echo in the room. There's silence. Can you feel the silence right now? Are you hearing that? That's silence. Okay? Even when you have a breath of it, that silence, it means everything. It becomes the place where you can catch your breath, where you can take the next step. Sometimes that's all that it takes. Okay? The Seven of Wands with the ladder, this is you choosing the high ground. Usually the 7 is somebody standing on the high ground. It's when you start climbing that ladder to suddenly defend yourself instead of just being hurt. You catch your breath enough to go, I'm going to try again. And this time, I'm going to do it for something that means something to me. Something that's powerful within my energetic body, right? That's sometimes all we really need, is to take that moment to really just be quiet and think, if for just this moment, I was just right here, right now. You will feel a moment almost of euphoria. I do. I can just sit here, look out the window, and think right here, right now. And you know what the best part is? At one point, you'll be able to choose the feeling you sit in. Right here, right now, I choose to feel euphoria. That moment of nostalgia. I'm looking at snow. It reminds me of Christmas when I was young. That feeling right there. I don't go into the memory. I go into the essence of the feeling. And I take a deep breath. And I sit right there. Are there things that I could be sad about, be hurt about, drag my brain around, in the gutter with? Oh, absolutely. But right this moment, I don't choose that. I choose here. Snow on a cedar. White on the ground. And a deep breath. And a smile of, ooh, the world's a white blanket. Beautiful. That's all you need. The energy inside shifts. Everything starts moving differently. And you're able to shift things in a way that is a different perception than the Three of Swords and the clawing out of something, right? We always think of, oh my God, it's so hard to reset, we gotta sleep, we gotta do something. Yeah, that is a way of doing it. But we truly become a master of ourselves when we can sit in a minute or two and just hold on to one nice feeling. Something that you like, something that makes you tingle inside, that makes you smile. And it won't change every single thing around you. Everything that you had before will still be there. But for a moment, you gave yourself a breath, a place to catch your breath and move forward again. And sometimes that's all you really need, so that you can go up the ladder and find that space of fighting the good fight for whatever you're looking for. That's exactly what you're doing here. I'm fighting for the thing that I believe in. If you get anything from this reading, this is simply about catching your breath. This is about breathing in and replenishing yourself for the continued journey that you've decided on. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take money. It takes mastery. It takes not living inside your mind, but living outside of it in the essence of something beautiful. And if you can manage it, you're going to be on your way to, well, not only going to where you need to go, but being able not to feel so heavy about it all the time. You're going to be able to give yourself breaks to the continued journey, and then you become very good at it. This is where masters and gurus, live, because they've figured that part out. You can call it magic, you can call it mastery, you can call it whatever you want. But it's definitely the way to go. Thank you so much for letting me read for you this week. Thank you for letting me have this moment with you, because I actually had a moment in the middle of the reading of peace and quiet. If you want to look at it again, just back up, you'll see it. There's a moment of silence. This is perfect. And take good care of yourself. Love, light, and blessings. I'll see you next week.